The Supreme Court today came down heavily on suspended BJP leader Nupur Sharma, whose remarks on Prophet Muhammad sparked a row. The top court was hearing a petition by Sharma seeking that all the FIRs filed against her in different parts of the country be transferred to Delhi. Interestingly, the order itself had no comments about Nupur and only asked her to seek alternative legal remedies. But in the course of the hearing, the court made scathing observations, in fact 12 of them. The court asked Nupur Sharma to make a public apology since what she has said has ignited emotions across India. Here are few of the other key observations by the two judges. This lady, said the judge, is single-handedly responsible for what is happening in the country. The petition itself, according to Justice Suryakant, shows Nupur Sharma's arrogance, and sometimes people might think that I have backup and say anything. Sometimes power goes into the head. He also went on to say that Nupur Sharma made the statements without thinking of the ramifications and how it will affect the fabric of society. Justice Pardewala, in fact, went so far as to say that Nupur Sharma's remarks had ended up in a situation like the Udaipur beheading. Sharma, in her application, had also said that she is facing constant threats to her life, but the court refused to intervene, saying that the conscience of the court is not satisfied. Eventually, armed with observations from the Supreme Court, the opposition is training its guns at the BJP, saying that not only Nupur but the Saffron Party must also apologize to the country.
It is not the person who has made the comment. It is the Prime Minister, it is the Home Minister, it is the BJP and the RSS that has created this environment in the country.
He is the Prime Minister of 133 crore people, which also includes 20 crore of Muslims who are equal citizens in this country. My demand to the Honorable Prime Minister is, please ensure that Nupur Sharma is arrested.
कि आज जिस तरह से नफरत का माहौल समाज के बीच में, धर्मों के बीच में पैदा किया जा रहा है, उसको अगर रोका नहीं गया तो कहीं न कहीं एक भयानक रूप लेगा. अगर देश और समाज के ताने बाने को तोड़ने की कोई कोशिश कर रहा है तो मुझे लगता है कि उस पर सख्त कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए.
Professor D.K. Giri, political analyst, joins us along with lawyer Deshratan Nigam. My first question is to you, R. Rajgopalan, senior journalist. Do you think Nupur Sharma should apologize, Mr. Rajgopalan?
Apologize, Padmaja. He has already apologized. And second thing, BJP has suspended her. She is facing a threat to her life. Apart from that, Congress is talking a lot of things today, but where were they on the day of this incident? Now, apart from that, Udaipur, why Congress was silent? They were protecting Ashok Gehlot government. And second thing, Padmaja, you have to read Nupur Sharma's controversy with the backdrop of Teesta and Zubair. That is why it is getting hot up. And moreover, since the highest court in the country, Supreme Court, has given this type of observations, we have to go by that. And there are incidences, my understanding is, Congress, Communist, AIM should also come forward to condemn Udaipur, condemn other acts of, this terrorism.
Manasvi Thapar.
Will Congress support this?
Everyone is asking for apology, but she's already apologized.
She should not. It's her personal call, and this is what is happening in the country. When you're not concerned about the country, when you're only concerned about one political party, you don't care about your panelists, you don't care about who you debate with, you don't care about when you come on a national television, you have to be responsible. You don't care about anything. If there is, because of your statements and sentiments, if there is fire across the country, you need to apologize, and even then your arrogance level is so much that you say in public that I don't want to apologize. That is not the way the country should function.
But Mr. Rajgopalan is saying she has already apologized.
The party has suspended her. The party has suspended her. Has Rahul Gandhi suspended Congress leaders in Rajasthan?
This is not between Rahul Gandhi versus JP Nadda ji. This is not about.
It has to be connected with Udaipur.
This is
alone with Udaipur.
You may connect anything and everything. The reality is.
So you may also select anything. You may also select anything.
Not made on a national television. We should be careful when we are on
the.
We should respect the stage and we should respect the country. The country should come first, and we should not deal into communal fights, religious fights, and in this way the country is not moving forward. And even if you have to apologize one more time, 1,000 times, you should do that. This is how the country should move forward. You should set an example. If something is made, if you believe that's a wrong statement, it was in the heat of the moment you made that statement, even if you have to spend 10 more apologies, you should make the 10 more apologies. What is stopping you that? How the country is burning? Are you concerned about the country, or are you concerned about what is Rahul Gandhi doing?
Deshratan Nigam, the court today said that what has happened in Udaipur is Nupur's fault.
Yes, and let me tell you, the comments by the Supreme Court, which are not part of the order, are uncalled for, unfortunate, and will have horrifying consequences for the nation. And let me also state that what happened at Udaipur, the video also threatened to kill the Prime Minister. And there appears to be a justification in the comments of the Supreme Court for that kind of a threat. And I am actually appalled to what has happened. The matter before the Supreme Court was only for clubbing all the FIRs which have been filed in various states. And the order only says you avail alternative remedy. There was no question of going into the merits of the case because the case is pending in the trial court. And now such kind of comments holds Nupur Sharma guilty without a trial. She has been held guilty without a trial. That's not the law.
Professor Giri,
she has to go through a fair trial.
Holding guilty without a trial. She has to go through
a fair trial, and all Supreme Court also did not have the evidence before it. No material before it to come to that kind of a conclusion. That will only come when the charge sheet is filed in the matter and the police puts all the evidence.
Okay.
So this
Manasvi Thapar wants to respond since you are both lawyers.
Unfortunate, uncalled for.
Deshratan Nigam calls it appalling and horrifying. Precedent, dangerous precedent for the rest of the country.
This is out in open in your particular channel. She made that statement, and we know after that making of statement what happened in this country. And I don't think she's going to go down if she makes an apology. It's about country, and it's not about who's going to be charged sheeted, who's not going to be charged sheeted.
But Manasvi Thapar, what Deshratan Nigam is saying, how can you hold her guilty for a murder? How is she guilty for that murder?
Obviously, she's not guilty for that murder. But what is happening because of that statement, we all know that. She is not guilty for the murder. How can she be guilty for the murder?
Because that is the insinuation, that because of what she said, things have come to such a pass that Udaipur beheading has happened. How can that be said? That's like holding her guilty without even a trial. She's not even an accused in that. How is that possible, Manasvi Thapar?
I missed, what did you say?
My question is, how can one say that because of Nupur Sharma, Udaipur beheading has happened?
Obviously, because of her statement, the sentiments of one particular religious outfit have been burnt. That's why this is happening.
So are we supposed to believe that her sentiments somehow are going to result in beheading? Is that a rationalization that, oh, she heard sentiments, so beheading happened?
Are you justifying what Nupur Sharma said?
Don't turn this around on me. I'm asking you a simple question. Are you justifying the beheading, saying Nupur Sharma caused the beheading?
Right now on Twitter, there is trending Black Day on Indian judiciary. Supreme Court is compromised.
I don't care about Twitter. I'm asking you simply as a lawyer. Are you suggesting that Nupur Sharma is to be blamed for a beheading of a man in Udaipur?
Obviously not. That has nothing to relate with Nupur Sharma. That is those.
Then why the comment about Nupur Sharma said this, so we have Udaipur on our hands?
No, but we know how this effect is because of that statement made by Nupur Sharma.
Do we?
That should not have been.
Mr. Rajgopalan, so this is a cause and effect. It's Newton's third law, as it were.
Manasvi Thapar is a very senior advocate, and he argues differently. I go with Mr. Nigam's point of view because the Udaipur has to be a central focal point now. As Mr. Nigam said, it involves the country's Prime Minister. Therefore, my understanding, Mr. Thapar should also revise his opinion and go by the Supreme Court's verdict. Supreme Court said lot, uttered a lot of observations, but in the order it is another point. So therefore, my understanding is, since BJP has taken a moral ground, the Arun Singh issued 2 pages letter on that day. Will Rahul Gandhi or CPM or AIM do such thing for Udaipur? That is a political issue now. Since legal issue has been done away with. All legal things have been done.
Yeah, I wanted to make a small point. you know, my friend Deshratan Nigam is a lawyer and he is always respectful to Supreme Court, but today he is highly critical of Supreme Court. That is apart, and I find our senior journalist wide of the mark. The entire situation is very inflamed, very excited. Both the communities are worried and excited. The beheading in Udaipur has turned the wind around. So now it is a time for calm and composed decision, not blame each other. Mr. Rajana, it is not between political parties anymore. It is between two communities. You know, the moment you bring in politics, it will become more explosive. The two communities should restrain, think coolly and come to a solution.
That is great. That's very sane advice. That is the best advice anyone has offered in days, because Nupur Sharma has already apologized 2 days after this happened. But will the people who condoned calls for beheading going to apologize anytime soon?
I am saying the same thing. So if he has made a mistake, he apologized for it, things should cool down. Now it has been made worse by the beheading.
But
so
sir, that is the point. That far from allowing things to cool down, she is being blamed for a beheading now. Professor Giri, that is the question, that today it is being said, oh, she set into motion the things that have resulted in a beheading. How is this connection being drawn?
No, but that is for Deshratan Nigam and others to decide. I am not questioning Supreme Court's observation or judgment. We never did in our country. You know, whenever decision came, Maharashtra, Supreme Court is right. Today, Supreme Court is wrong. Supreme Court should remain above politics. If they made some observations, we take them or don't take them, don't discuss it. Supreme Court decisions are beyond discussion.
Okay, Mr. Rajgopalan and Deshratan Nigam both want to come in. Mr. Rajgopalan, you go first, and Deshratan Nigam. Yes.
Same Mr. Giri should also approve why Ram Mandir issue was questioned. So you are different. When Mr. Ranjan Gogoi was nominated to Rajya Sabha, you objected. Why did you? You must have one policy, Mr. Giri.
The whole country is aflame. We'll have to go above all this and cool down the
Ram Mandir. When Ram Mandir Supreme Court observed, why Congress objected? Why they wanted to keep it 2019?
Rajgopalan is not a debate between Congress and BJP.
Okay. Mr. Deshratan Nigam, so today we are being told by Professor Giri, see, ultimately you have to trust someone, and we've also said this again and again, that ultimately we hold few things very sacred. The courts are one of them. So if Supreme Court have said it, we have to go by it.
I find it very surprising.
Well, Padmaja, in fact, everybody can be questioned in this nation, whether it is Supreme Court judges, or the Parliament, or the parliamentarians, or the media. In fact, today Supreme Court said why sub judice cases were being taken up. In fact, they questioned the media themselves. If the media is not above the law, the parliamentarians are not above the law, then the judges are also not above the law. They are governed by, otherwise we would not have any constitutional provision for removal of judges for misconduct. Therefore, they are under the law, rule of law, that this is how the country is governed. Now the comments for which the matter was not even there before the court, then commenting on a matter, prejudicing the entire process of trial is something which is uncalled for. Secondly, the Prime Minister was himself threatened to be killed. Pakistani angle is also there. All that seems to be justified. Are we saying so?
Manasvi
Now,
Thapar,
secondly,
and conveniently, and by the way, let me also mention over here that we are somehow pinning the blame for Udaipur on Nupur Sharma, while the Congress government in Rajasthan is blaming a Pakistan hand. So either Nupur Sharma is in cahoots with Pakistan, or Pakistan is in cahoots with Nupur Sharma, or Nupur Sharma, Ashok Gehlot and Pakistan are all in cahoots with each other. Because it is the Congress Chief Minister who is saying that this was planned way in advance in Pakistan. Then why suddenly Nupur Sharma responsible? Manasvi Thapar?
So, did Nupur Sharma made this statement or not? The answer is yes, she made this statement. Was this statement an irresponsible statement? The answer is yes. And if she has to apologize, what is the big problem? If she even has to do it 100 times, what's the big problem? And because Deshratan ji, 1 minute. Because Deshratan ji, 1 minute. If because of statement which he made.
With the greatest of respect, I want to ask you, okay, fine, she's made an irresponsible statement, she should apologize, she has apologized. Why is nobody asking for the apology of those who are standing on the streets and giving calls for beheading and are getting away with it? There is no anger about those people. Isn't the country aflame because of those people who are asking for the beheading of Nupur Sharma?
Obviously, she's filing FIRs. Law is going to take its own course, and Nupur Sharma comes.
So then let the law take its own course with Nupur Sharma also. She's facing FIRs across the country. Why is she being hauled up as guilty already? Today, we're in a situation where it has been said she set the country alight. The matter is sub judice. How have we declared her guilty of setting the country on fire, sir? While the matter is sub judice.
Yeah, everything is sub judice. You are very well on that point.
Then,
the point is just if I come on a national television, make a statement and it hurts the sentiment of a particular religion, I am responsible for that particular point. Why? Because I am on a national television.
But you will still not be told. You will still not be told that you have resulted in the murder of a person, sir, because that is a matter the court will decide, not an observation based on something happening online. That is the whole point.
The sentiments have been hurt. Because of that, we have seen the last 15 days, 1 month, how the country has gone ahead.
If hurt sentiments are a valid argument for any reaction, then that is exactly what Nupur Sharma's plea is, that her sentiment was hurt, so she retaliated by making these thoughtless comments. But that is not an excuse for her, right? She also gave the argument of hurt sentiments, sir.
For anyone. There is no excuse for Nupur or Zubair or for anyone.
Go on, Deshratan Nigam.
Something has to be done.
Yes, let me answer. You know, let me put myself in the shoes of a Supreme Court judge, and a matter for transfer comes, and even if you are not supposed to go on the merits of the case and confine yourself to the grounds of transferring these or clubbing these FIRs in a particular city. And that law is well settled in Arnab Goswami's case and T.T. Anthony's case, where so many FIRs there. The first one is taken into consideration, rest of them are stayed or are clubbed together. That relief has been denied to her, and in my opinion, that's an illegal order, absolutely illegal order. Now, secondly, I would have asked, as a judge, I would have asked 3 questions from Nupur Sharma's lawyer. One, whether she spoke the truth or not, whether she was sufficiently provoked or not, whether she made a derogatory remarks or not, whether the manner in which she said was derogatory. And then they should have sought these answers from Nupur Sharma's counsel. Then I would believe that the balance would have been restored. Not that you pronounce guilty without hearing even on the merits, without even the trial. I believe the Supreme Court Chief Justice should launch an internal inquiry about such comments, because they have the power to do it, or the Parliament must take up this matter under the provisions of the Constitution for removal of judges. I am very anguished, let me tell you, I am very anguished with such kind of comments which being made, holding somebody guilty. Entire nation has been put into turmoil. Look at what has been said. Justification of beheading, murder, what kind of consequences it can have for national, internal and external security. Nobody is realizing that. The grave consequences it can result.
Absolutely, and that is the reason why a plea has already been forwarded to the Chief Justice. The appellant has said please treat it like a PIL and has asked for the expunging of these particular remarks, which has the whole country right now in a state of uproar. We'll be keeping a very close track of that. For the time being, thank you very much all gentlemen for joining me. Quick break, big news coming in on the other side of how this was a plot that ran